to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Of course.
It was funny because he's now no longer with the Sharks. So Anthony Duclair goal.
Columbus legend Anthony Duclair.
I also got to see on the rafters another Blue Jackets legend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. God, I remember when Mikko Koivu was a Blue Jacket for like 3 games.
I'll never forget those games.
No, because
there is footage of him scoring a goal.
Oh my God, is there ever? God, how many did he actually play? Like 9, 11, 12, something like that?
Something like ridiculous.
Something really small.
Yeah, very interesting.
And then,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm glad you had a good time in Mini. I've just been, doing my thing, working, and gushing about the dog every chance I get.
Yeah, the one fun thing
Which we haven't.
Yes.
We haven't had we haven't had a show since this happened.
Yeah.
Should I start with the pup?
Yeah. I mean, you should always start with the pup.
So my mom texted me about a week and a half ago. She was like, I have a surprise for you, or might have a surprise for you. And then I was like, ooh, I like surprises. And she texted me his info from the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, a puppy?
Yeah.
And, we didn't know, they were going to pay him a visit the next day at the shelter and see where things were at, feel it out. And I had to work that night. So I kept getting pictures, and then eventually Mom said that he's staying, and he's ours.
I love that. That's amazing.
His name's Roscoe. For those of you that want to, see him, I've got a post up on my Instagram and stuff. I think I have some Twitter pictures out there too.
Yeah.
He's only 3 months old. Just a little boy.
What breeds?
So he's pure mutt.
Yeah.
He was in a litter of 8, and the mom was pregnant when the mom went to the shelter. Poor boy was the last one taken.
Oh.
I know. He's got some pit.
Brock Purdy of dogs.
I know. He's absolutely gonna turn into Brock. He's gonna turn into a big old Brock Purdy too.
Yeah.
But he's got some pit bull in him. He's got some boxer in him, and other than that, we have no idea.
So that's funny because the dogs that I was watching.
Because the dad, we don't know.
Okay.
We have no clue about the dad.
I love pure mutts. Because that's what Jesse is.
Yeah.
Jesse's really a million different dogs in one.
Milo's a shepherd, and
she's
the one that you dog sit all the time.
Border Collie, Husky.
Aww.
I think a little bit of shepherd in there. And it's funny because Jesse literally looks like a miniature German shepherd. And none in her.
Here, should I just pull up a picture?
Yes.
Hopefully I can find hopefully I can find this. Well, the script when it's back. This is the boy. This is Roscoe. Everybody, I've been posting pictures to Discord and all of that, and everybody comments on his ears.
Yeah.
Because the ears are just so perky and great. But he's a good boy. He finally got all his vaccinations now.
Good.
I think they went today to get the last ones. So now before too long, he'll get to come visit the dog park across the street.
Those are the 2 dogs that I watched.
Oh, look at them. They look like Scooby and Scrappy.
Yeah. Their names are Rex and Buzz. There's a Toy Story theme going on there.
Very cool.
Love it.
No, yeah, we just kept his name from the shelter, so he's Roscoe.
Roscoe's a good name for a dog.
He's 18 pounds, so he's already kind of hefty.
Yeah.
For a pup. He's gonna end up being like a 60-pound dog, they think.
Yep. Guarantee he's gonna be a lap dog too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he already is.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be a lap dog when he's
The biggest
huge.
dogs love to be lap dogs.
Yeah, they do. Funny enough, Jag doesn't. But yeah, no, he tries, and then sometimes he just ends up laying on the carpet.
You know what? Mood.
So we just passed the trade deadline, eh?
Yeah, pretty interesting trade deadline, I reckon.
It was weird because we were talking about the speculation leading up to it, and what Columbus was gonna do, what the big other stories were gonna be, and we've actually got some bigger hits out of this deadline for a deadline that didn't really have too many like star names on it.
Yeah, there weren't like any truly gigantic names. There are obviously, there's standard. You'll have a few. Obviously, the biggest fish I would argue being Jake Gensel, which we'll get to later. But I for the most part like what the Blue Jackets did. They had a couple solid moves this deadline. So
couple decent sells from JD in the office.
do we just want to get to those small moves from Blue Jackets first before
Kepi's?
Let's do that like right after Kepi's.
Okay, then let's do Kepi's first. We know hockey's a fast game, and this obviously isn't a fast pod.
No, it is.
But with our buddies at DraftKings, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers just sign up with our promo code THPN and just bet $5, and you get 200 instantly in bonus bets. So taking a look at Wednesday, because this is probably when it's going up, is Wednesday night. We got 4 fun ones. We got some interesting money lines on these games. Especially knowing like what everybody's done post deadline now. We have the Kings and the Blues. That's a -48 to a +124, favoring the Kings. That's a fun one. This one's got a big spread too. The Preds and the Jets. A +136 for Nashville to a -162. Ooh, excuse me, -162.
Nashville's been on a heater.
Nashville has been on a heater ever since they like fucked you two over. Like, what do you guys have against Bono?
Yeah, for real. The first star of the Nashville Predators right now. Would it be fair to say, though, that doing that to you two has given them the edge?
I think it has.
I'm proud of that one. I'm very proud of that one.
Then again, the Jets did get one of the bigger fish this deadline, and we'll get to him when we get to the West. We have probably the biggest spread I've seen, like ever, for a money line. +215 for Washington and a -265 for Edmonton.
Yeah.
That's like, woo!
Yeah. Duh. That's duh.
Nice Connor Brown Bowl we got going on here.
What other Oilers? This doesn't feel like a ton of Oilers and Capitals crossover if you think about it.
Not really. I mean, remember when I pulled the Nick Abe-Kubel Bowl out of my butt for the Flyers game, the Flyers and Avs?
Yeah, that was cool. Which is funny because you did that like right before Eric Johnson became an Av
Right.
or became a Flyer.
Became
So
a Flyer, right?
yeah,
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's any other crossover like that's funnily
like
notable
current. Yeah,
and fairly current for that.
yeah. I don't know.
Um, I don't know. But then we got some juggernauts going on, some big buyers for the late game. So take this one any way you want. You can get a win-win out of it. Colorado minus 105 and Vancouver minus 115.
I'll take Colorado.
It's that's a close money line.
It is. It absolutely is.
And all you have to do to get in on it yourself is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get 200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved.
Good job.
It's kind of nice to just to have the script right there in front of me.
Yeah.
But like, whew, I think I did that all in one breath, and that's like, so please go first.
Yeah, I mean, I think mine's pretty easy because it obviously has been a little bit since we've recorded. Funny enough, when we traded Emil Bemstrom, it was kind of like our initial reaction was like, okay, we're getting a 6th-round pick out of this. Essentially, that might turn into a third.
Right, and that's the
And
weird
within
because
a
didn't we
couple,
talk about the pick?
yeah, we did talk about the pick, but now we're sitting here like 2 weeks later, and I know it's a small sample size. It is a small sample size,
Yes.
but I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this the Alex Nylander trade? He's been good. I don't know what his future with the Blue
I
Jackets.
know you texted me. You were like,
Uh,
"Did we unlock Alex Nylander?"
Yeah, no, maybe, or maybe he's just hot to start his stint with the Blue Jackets and it doesn't materialize. Whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, we'll see. We don't know what the future holds, but all I know is he's gotten off to a great start with us, so he deserves
He
the
got
cup.
his first career hat trick with us.
Yeah.
He looked really good in the game that I went to see him.
Hmm.
In his, I think that was his debut that Sunday against the Rangers.
Yes, it would
I
have
want
been.
to say that was his Columbus debut. Oh, that's right, because we did talk about we talked about Emil scoring a power play goal in his first game as a Penguin the same day.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alex is a really good pick because he's been extremely solid on that third line, and just like this is what was advertised for an 8th overall pick.
It like
This is
you.
what you wanted to see from a guy like this.
Yeah, he's been almost kind of a frustrating player in the same sense that Emil Bemstrom's been a frustrating player in that you see the talent, you
Mm-hmm.
see he has the tools, he utilizes them well in the American Hockey League. His production speaks for itself in the American Hockey League. It hasn't translated to the NHL, and I think a lot of us, kind of get into this mode frequently. I do this all the time. Where I see a player go to a certain place, like he went to the Penguins, and I was like, oh, he might play with Crosby or Malkin. They're gonna
Right,
love.
that'll work.
That'll work. Doesn't always happen like that.
No.
Sometimes it actually helps when you go to a place that the team's not very good, and maybe it's a little bit easier to get that ice time, and maybe it's not so much who's setting you up. Sometimes it's about creating something for yourself, and that's kind of been the case for him so far. He's taken advantage of opponents' mistakes. He's helped force some of those mistakes. He's capitalizing on chances. So it's been a good start. Like I said, we'll see if it continues. Let's see if this materializes into anything. But the one thing I can say is, even if it doesn't materialize into anything with him here, it's still a win of a trade because of the draft pick you got, and he's at least giving you service for the rest of the season. That's
Right.
productive.
And I mean, it is very productive because, like, look at the chemistry that he's building with Sillinger right now.
Yeah, dude, Colt
Like,
deserves so much credit for how he has played these last few months. He's really turning up his game and making key adjustments to his game that have me once again excited about his future with the team. Proud of the kid.
yeah, I'm proud of him too. He's not necessarily going to be getting my Kepi, unfortunately. It's weird
No,
because
yeah.
I I don't want to match, but I feel like I have to match because Alex is just a great story.
Yeah, sometimes a player does so well that you just have to. We both have to do it. So
Because as much as, like, I would love to give it to Johnny for heating up and finally turning back into Johnny for at least a hot minute, right? Or something, but like, really, other than, who haven't we just kind of rehashed? Like, we keep talking about the Russian kids, and they obviously deserve their flowers.
yeah, sometimes our
But
Keppies kind of go by way of not necessarily wanting to be repetitive over and over and over again, which I don't think is totally unfair. Um, but this is a case where a player deserves it, so
yeah, so I think we're both gonna go with Nylander
the only other guy
on
that I would
that.
consider giving it to would be Tarasov for how he's played in these last two games. He's been really good.
Terry's been great. His 47 save performance, matching his career high against the Predators.
Yeah, because for some reason, anytime Tarasov's in goal, they fucking love letting the
To
team just fire everything on goal.
just not, like, we know they don't already play defense, but they really don't play defense when there's Terry in net.
Which is strange because usually it's the opposite, where it's you have a young keeper in net, and you're just like, okay, well, we're gonna be extra detailed
We'll
and
buckle down for this kid, right?
we don't want to have him face too many pucks. Nope, not the Blue Jackets. Not the Blue Jackets.
You're gonna face all the pucks.
This is the game experience.
Experience Blue Jackets hockey.
I have, and I am getting tired of it.
I'm hoping for some bigger changes here soon. But yeah, Alex Nylander getting the flowers and the cappies from both of us.
I think it's a good transition because he was the first trade. Even though it wasn't a quote unquote deadline move, it was near the deadline.
Yeah, it was near enough. I do want to bring up this random stat that I sent you on Instagram really quick, just because I thought it was interesting. And it goes back to one of our Russian kids. Just to give Yegor a little bit of flowers, because this is Yegor erasure, and I will not stand for this.
Okay.
Players with top maximum shot speeds in 2023-24. This is NHL Edge stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colin Miller's at the top of the list with a 100,
Does not surprise me. That guy can shoot the puck.
102.59 miles per hour. Again, that's the top of the list, right?
Yes.
Need I remind you all that Yegor Chinnikov has topped 103,
Yeah.
and he's not on this list.
What shot is it though?
It just says top maximum shot speeds
Interesting.
because the other stat that went along with this was most 90 plus mile per hour shots. Which,
When
if
was
you
it
want,
posted?
huh?
When was it posted?
It was posted 6 days ago.
So they're just wrong. Also,
They're just, yeah.
like, surely Arbor Jackeye has hit 102, 103 a few times this season.
Arbor Jackeye is third on this list, a 102.23.
Yeah, I'm sure he's top higher than that, dude. Him and Colin Miller both can flat out just fire the puck. But yeah, Chinikov obviously can too. His shot's unbelievable because his wrist shot is ridiculously fast.
Exactly. You're gonna like who's in between Miller and Jackeye, though.
Is it Jack Johnson?
It is not Jack Johnson.
Is it Risto?
It is not Risto.
Is it Goodbranson?
It's not Eric. Unfortunately, I would love for it to be Eric.
Uh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Who else can fucking just fire it as fast as
You want me to give you a bit of a hint?
give me a little bit of a hint.
Little bit of a hint. You know our buddy Mark Shag.
Yes.
This player is a legend for the Erie Otters.
Oh, that does not help at all. I do not know juniors at all. Just tell me. I don't want to take too much time on this.
Darren Radish.
Oh, I would not have guessed him. Impressive. I did not know that he had that kind of velocity in him, but
102.4, baby.
damn, how about that?
And then if you want just a quick laugh about the 90 mile an hour plus, really quick, the leader on that board is Evan Bouchard.
Not surprised. That guy
90 shots, dude.
loves to spam it.
9-0.
Yeah.
Second is Alexander Ovechkin with 56. Yeah.
Okay, the gap is hilarious there, but that'll be it too brings a smile to my face. But no, seriously, if you could fire the puck that hard and you're a defenseman,
Yeah.
dude, I would be annoying the shit out of people by just spamming like 4 shots a night. Just trying to blast it as hard as I can. See if maybe it'll just go straight in or maybe it'll hit something and go in or whatever. People would be annoyed with me for sure. But if you have a shot that hard, why not?
But you're a goalie, remember? You're the one that enjoys the pain.
I don't enjoy the pain. I simply, you know me, I do this with my sports team. I simply endure the pain.
So, okay. Columbus's deadline technically did start with the Bemstrom trade, I guess.
Yes. And we already covered that. Which one do we want to go to first?
Well,
No, let's go to the Roslovic trade first.
You want to go with Rosie first? All right.
It's an easier trade to, it's simpler. They retain half of the salary on his deal because he had 1 year left on his contract, so that's very standard. And they get a 4th round pick that can turn into a 3rd if the Rangers get to the final this year.
Which they very well could, because they loaded up.
Well, they're getting hot at the right time. They're in the first year of Peter Laviolette. And the guy that they need to get hot at the right time is Igor, and that's happening.
Yeah, and I mean, when Igor needs a rest, you still have Jonathan Quick, who turned the clock back to 10 years ago.
And real quick note, not that it's insanely important, 1 year extension for Jonathan Quick. Good for him.
Yes, I love that deal for Quickie.
So obviously you're not going to give Igor a rest in the playoffs.
Right. It's going to be his net, yeah.
If he were to go down,
got a good...
not many backup goaltenders give you a better shot in the Stanley Cup playoffs
Than Jonathan Quick.
Quick, even at this age.
Right.
And he's proved even at this age because he has played well this season.
And he just won last year with Vegas.
Granted, he didn't do anything.
Well, he still got his ring. He still got another ring.
In a ring, but he didn't do anything. But he three-time Cup champion sounds a lot better.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, I mean, so they're more than set in goal. And funny enough, they got another former Blue Jacket in Alex Wenberg.
Wenberg, yeah. What is it with all these former Jackets just being on the Rangers now?
Fucking will love their former Blue Jackets.
Because there's Panarin, there's Wenberg, there's Roslovic, there's Quick.
Polar bear in Arlington, Texas.
Polar bear.
Even think back into like the 2010s, the Blue Jackets, when they were first coming over to the Eastern Conference, like they loved making trades with the Rangers.
There was Dubinsky and Anisimov and Gabrick, and obviously Gabrick and Nash, obviously, yeah.
Oh yeah, Derek Brassard,
who went on to play for 50 other teams after that.
Even before that, Anton Strawman.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That throwing it back. Wow.
Throwing it back. Tim Erickson. You ready for that one?
Yeah, Timmy.
So yeah, not that it's insanely important, but the Rangers love their former Blue Jackets. But anyway, back to Roslovic.
Yeah. He'll do fine. He's probably going to be playing more middle 6 minutes.
That's what I expect.
Like I can see him playing with Trocheck a lot.
Well, yeah, Trocheck's obviously gigantic. The thing about Roslovic is, and we know this better than anybody.
Yeah.
He's got tools that are great. He's a good skater. He's got a good shot. He's particularly stellar off the rush.
Yes.
Creating scoring opportunities.
He wins his fair share of faceoffs.
He doesn't play any defense.
No.
And he's not at all consistent offensively.
He goes through more like cold streaks than like the center of a hot pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Or when you're trying to heat up a toaster strudel.
Yeah.
And the like right in the middle, it's like
and
you're just like, oh.
And you're just like, run.
Because my buddy John, who is my roommate, he's a huge Rangers fan. He texted me. He's like, "What are we getting at Jack Roslovic?" And I was like, "Here's the thing. Nobody knows."
Honestly,
you expect the unexpected. Because I told him if you're playing a first round series and that series ends in 6 games, I will not be the least bit surprised if he has 1 point in those 6 games.
Right.
I will also not be surprised if he has 6 points in those 6 games.
Well, it's funny because like not even Kat asked me, because I was just like, I hope you take care of Rosie. That's all I said.
Yeah. We'll see what he could do. The thing with him that I think is going to be interesting is it's going to be a little bit harder for him to get those opportunities on the Rangers at the center position, simply because obviously you have Mika Zibanejad, you've got
Vinny Trocheck,
and they just got Alex Wenberg, and I think Wenberg is more suited to take on those third line minutes because he can penalty kill.
At center specifically, yeah.
Specifically, he's better defensively, and he can, he loves passing the puck, so he can be a setup guy for Alexei Lafreniere or, anyone else. Like that's to me going to make it a little bit harder for him to find his ice. He almost might be better served on the wing at times, but again, as we've seen, he's not as effective on the wings.
And then you got to remember that they're also playing and paying Barclay Goodrow,
And that's the thing. Barclay Goodrow just might be your fourth line center in
Yeah,
that, and maybe you're playing Roslovic on the wing on the third line or the fourth line. I don't know what the Rangers are going to do. They're
which
going to
means you play Edstrom on the wing somewhere down there.
maybe, yeah, maybe.
And then does that put Rempe over on a wing? And we'll get to Rempe
We'll
and
get to Rempe in a little
oh
bit.
yeah, we'll get to
I
Rempe.
don't know. He might be seeing a lot of time in the press box during the playoffs if he continues what he's doing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I like the trade in the sense that they found a way to get a somewhat okay asset. You know,
Mid-round pick is fine.
Roslovic, obviously being a Central Ohio guy, everybody,
Powell represent, right?
yeah, everybody was drawn to him immediately. But as much as we wanted it to work, it just didn't, and they needed
Yeah.
to pull the plug, and I thought they did fine considering the circumstances. I really did.
We do love, obviously, like we still have plenty of, local flavor on this team.
Hey, you still got Corrali.
There's Corrali, there's Carson,
Yeah,
there's
and
Cole, obviously.
Carson was just brought back up on
Hmm.
a basis, so he's going to get some games here. So, you know, yeah, it's not like
It's
we're
not like we lost a whole lot of
yeah,
flavor in there, but like
yeah. He
Jack
wasn't
was
the most prominent Ohio, Central Ohio player on the team anymore with how well Corrali's been.
well, the
So,
problem is like he was also the first one from, this area to go as a first rounder, right?
yeah, maybe
Because wasn't he 25th?
he was. Let me check something
He was
real.
like 25, 26. So he was the first Central Ohio player to, be drafted in the first round, unless I'm like
No, you are
blanking.
right. Because the only guy I was thinking of was Kessler, but he was in Livonia, Michigan,
I was
but he played
honestly
at
like,
Ohio State.
right. And I
I
was,
couldn't remember if he was from Ohio or not. So no, you're fine.
well, part of me was thinking about the Sherwood boys. And I was like, I don't
Well,
think
no,
either of those guys were first rounders, right?
they're both. I think Cole was a fourth and Kiefer was undrafted,
Okay. Okay.
something like that. Maybe I'm way wrong, but no, neither one of them were a first or second round pick. I know that for a fact.
Right. So yeah, Jack was the first one. And so that, that puts a little feather in our cap. And
And
it's,
Kiefer scored in the Nashville game, didn't he?
he did. He scored the first goal because, of course, he did.
But I think that's enough on Jack. I wish him the best of luck. It didn't work.
Hmm.
Uh, we got to see at several different points the talent he has on display. I He's just got to find a way to put it together. That's all it is.
Yeah, like that's been Jack's whole career in a nutshell is just you have the tools. When is it all going to cook together? When is this stew gonna heat up?
That's what we kind of thought about him in Winnipeg. He
Yeah.
came to Columbus, and early on, it looked like it was coming together, and then it just fell apart. Now, granted, maybe it fell apart because coaching dipped,
Yeah, and
and
like
maybe
it
going
really dipped.
will bring that back. I don't know. We'll see, but
Maybe
uh,
Lavi can do something.
yeah,
We know how good of a coach Laviolette is.
yeah, he's had an unbelievable career. So, and I'm excited that he's going to get a chance to, you know, compete in the playoffs.
Yeah, good for Jack. He gets his run. Hopefully it's a big run for both his sake and ours.
Yeah,
Going to the next one, the other like more notable trade that they made was Andrew Peak to the Boston Bruins
I couldn't believe the return they got.
for Jakobs Borrell.
Yeah. So initially, funny enough, that's what we thought the trade was,
Yeah,
and we were
by the
still
way, let's let's be clear here. When we found out that there was zero retention on this deal for Andrew Peak, we were just like swinging praises.
The name drop. I had several conversations with Alex about him, and uh, what we talked about with Andrew Peak and trying to trade him was like, if we had tried to trade him back in the summer or at the deadline last year,
Mm-hmm.
interest for him would have been pretty damn decent.
Right. Well,
Probably could have gotten maybe a second for him.
didn't we talk
And
about this early on in the year? Like, you
yeah, if at
probably
least
could have gotten a second.
and the value just kept going down and down and
To the
down.
point where we were like, and we talk about this online with buddies, and we talk about this here. What is the point of value for a guy that you're more willing to keep in the box than to play?
It got to a point, and Alex and I talked about this, was like, are they going to buy him out?
Right.
And that seemed like it could be a possibility. So when I saw that we traded him,
Mm-hmm.
I was so relieved.
It was like, okay, we're getting something out of
So
this.
not only did they get rid of him, not only did they not have to retain any salary, not only did they not have to take on an albatross in return, they got Zaboral, who's on a 1 year deal. He had 1 year remaining on his deal at $1.1 million, and he's only played in the AHL, so he might not play for Columbus. They might just keep him in the American League and have him help gear up for a Calder Cup run with the Monsters, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, he's a right shot, isn't he?
Left.
He's left. Dude, Zboril Juracek?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he'll be an asset in that. And if they want to keep him, it'll be cheap. If they don't want to keep him, whatever. I was thrilled on that alone.
Yeah, on just Zboril.
3 really good reasons to like that trade. And then a third came up. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
I can't believe they also got a draft pick. And not just any draft pick, they got a third. Like, damn, okay.
We get a sixth that can turn into a third.
Mm-hmm.
We get a fourth that can turn into a third. And we get a straight up third.
Yeah.
Wow. That's some.
Imagine they all turned into thirds.
Oh my god, if they all turned into third round picks.
Like the Penguins missed the playoffs, but like Emil Bemstrom just has like a 4-goal game somewhere there. That'd be so funny. So look, even if it's just a third, a fourth, and a sixth that we get out of
That's
this,
still decent.
it's still a good deadline because of what they got. They got rid of Emil Bemstrom, who wasn't able to put it together for them. They got rid of Jack Roscoe, who wasn't able to put it together for them. They got rid of Andrew Peak, who wasn't able to get it together for them, and had perceived almost negative value.
Yeah.
And funny enough, they got the most for him.
Yeah, right. Like you get a highly like a prospect that needed a change of scenery. You get a third round pick.
I don't know if I'm willing to call Jakub Zboril a prospect anymore, to be honest with you. I think he's what, like 24, 25?
I mean,
He was the Barzell draft.
I was gonna say, yeah, he was part of that. He was part of the back-to-back-to-back picks.
Yeah.
That could have been what Connor
Could have
and
been Barzell,
Connor and Shabbat.
and Thomas Shabbat.
Yeah, whoa, man, missing out on those guys for.
Yeah.
For
But the good thing is that Boston's not reeling too much right now.
No, I mean, like they don't have any of those guys in their system anymore, do they?
Brusque.
Oh no, wait, they kept DeBrusque, of course, right? And DeBrusque has been like.
But Sebastian got rid of. Obviously, they got rid of Zaboral. But yeah, DeBrusque's a really good player. I mean, he's not a Kyle Connor or Matt
or
Barzal.
Thomas Shabbat or yeah.
But he's still a very valuable player for the
very
Bruins.
solid second liner, third liner for Boston.
Yeah, Boston's an interesting team heading into these playoffs.
But before we get to somewhere like Boston, and I just ask you who you think your winners and losers are for the conference or whatever, we do need to talk about that buddy of ours in New York,
Yeah.
that big old 6'7" has only played 10 games in the NHL and has absolutely just wrecked shop.
Yeah, look, I I said this on I think probably last podcast that I liked the Matt Rempe story.
His story is awesome.
Uh
Like the lore and the hype that this kid
yeah,
had been building over these last 10 games.
starting with the loser lap that they make rookies do and having it be in front of 80,000 people at MetLife Stadium, to the fights that he's gotten into, to the black
His
eye
first shift being fighting Matt Martin, like,
all guys, like
and then he fights, like,
he's
he goes through 4 fights in 5 games.
going up against some tough customers. He's had some
He had that questionable hit on Bastion in the
Bastion,
4th game out of the 5. Um,
yeah, and then
and then yeah, like you said, the black eye in practice, which was like, whew.
God damn. Look, I'm trying to think of how I want to raise this.
Yeah, he's a fun story up to this point.
Oh God, he was a great story up until this point. And look, not to characterize here, but I think we all kind of saw this coming at some point.
Eventually, I think
But
something
to
like this
me,
had to have happened.
what bothers me most
We're
is
skirting around this. Like, what
not
happened,
only-
first of all?
it's one of the most disgusting hits we've seen this season.
Yeah.
He nails every point of a bad hit that you can find.
Yeah.
So first of all, the guy is 6'7". Okay,
Uh-huh.
you can't help the fact that you're 6'7".
You're
That's
already big enough to, like,
already
just,
big enough as is. But when you're 6'7", you have to learn to control yourself and control your body in ways to ensure that you're not putting others in danger, even if you're trying to rock their bones a little bit with a big hit.
mm-hmm.
There's a difference between trying to, shake up your enemy and literally thrust them through the wall.
Right.
So first of all, he strides several times into this hit.
Definition of a charge.
It's a definite charge. Siegenthaler gets rid of the puck, is in the process of very, very visually getting rid of this puck.
Right. Don't mind me. I'm
He
just
has
trying to find.
more than enough time to try and slow down. Maybe he doesn't avoid the contact, but at the very least, he could have absolutely softened his position here.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he charging, he sees this player has gotten rid of the puck. This player's head is up because that's where he's putting the puck. So his eyes are not on the freight train coming at him.
Yep.
And he just full on blasts him. So charging, interference,
Led with his elbow.
led with his elbow at 6'7".
Yeah. And left his feet.
And left his feet.
You don't need to leave your feet if you're 6'7".
I'm not sure what more he could have done to make it a dirtier hit.
How
He hit
are you,
about every check mark you could hit.
dude? Again, you're like, you're the size of a basketball player. You don't need to leave your feet.
Oh my God, dude, are you kidding me?
What?
He could have left that game, and if Julius Randle had an injury tonight in the Knicks game against the 76ers, they could legitimately look at him and be like, do you want to be wing depth? Like, and look,
Ugh.
man,
So
I know it's a heated rivalry, and I know there's obvious,
yeah,
and this is a passionate player, but
yes,
the ultimate coup de grace, fucking waving at them as you're being thrown out of the game.
yeah.
I'm not saying you got to walk to the side with puppy eyes and be like, "Oh man,
You don't have to do a Corey Perry
you
walk
don't
of
just
shame.
walk off.
You don't have
Just
to do a walk of
walk off
shame.
the ice.
Just go. Like,
Just go. What are we doing here, man?
not everybody's Jordan Bennington and needs to like try to pull a show when
Do I look nervous?
why does it make him sound like such a fucking nerd?
Because that's what he sounds like. Watch the interview again. Watch it.
He has
Watch it.
such like
I
a
beg you to watch that interview and tell me that impression is not accurate.
such a nasally like it's you know what that sounds like? That sounds like the DP from the Christian Bale rant during Terminator. he's like, what the
What
fuck
is
are
it with
you
you?
doing? And he's just like, I was looking at the lights.
We're fucking done professionally. Oh, that's such a good shout. That's such a no, seriously though. Like, what are you like? What are you doing? Waving as you leave. Oh my god! Because
I
you
get
know what it is. This is maddening and concerning for everybody else in the National Hockey League because if that's your reaction to doing that, you are telling everybody in the National Hockey League, whether it's players,
yeah.
coaches, or even fans, that you do not see a problem with what you just did.
You're in the National Hockey League. You're not in the UFC, dude.
So I know he hasn't played a ton in the National Hockey League.
Only 10
I
games.
I can fucking guarantee you this is going to happen again.
So the thing that everybody was talking about uh regarding the aftermath to this was, we're all thinking here in our heads, like you and me specifically, like, oh, George isn't going to do much because he's George Paris.
No,
And
because
like,
he's a quote unquote first time offender. He is. He's a young kid, and the NHL is incredibly incompetent and inconsistent when it comes to the Department of Player Safety. This is one of the rare times I will compliment them. I think they did the
yes,
right.
they actually did a great job with this. He got a 4-game suspension.
I think 4 games is more than fair because he is a first. This is his first. Um, and 4 games for a first time offender is a lot. A lot of times, first time offenders maybe get a game, or maybe they just get a massive fine and a major warning from the NHL. In rare cases, we'll see guys maybe get 2 games. Four
Well,
games more than appropriate here for even though it's his first time because it was that egregiously bad of a hit. And
Rasmus
I can't imagine the NHL was. I'm not saying this added to the suspension, but I can't imagine the NHL was thrilled with his actions after it too. Now, there's nothing illegal against doing that in terms of the rule book, but showing up your opponent like that and waving at them after you do that, I imagine their reaction is the same as what I just said, which is like, what the fuck are you doing?
well, this is also the first time that
Hey,
this is the first time in like forever that the Department of Player Safety has been consistent with something.
mhm.
Rasmus Anderson got 4 games for this,
Yep, yeah.
and Chucky got 4 games for it too.
Yeah. And I want to say Rasmus Anderson's was
That
his.
was, I think that was his first, yeah.
So,
So,
because at the end of the day, you need to be able to determine intention. And when you look, if Siegenthaler holds on to the puck for
mhm.
another 0.5 to 0.75 seconds, maybe there's a little bit more ambiguity here.
Right.
There's none.
No,
With
this is
how
as
much
clear
ambiguity-
cut as it could be.
Yeah. And that was the case with the Rasmus Anderson one. He's a guy who has a great reputation in the NHL.
10 seconds left in the end of a game
10
that you're
seconds left in the
losing.
game. And yeah, 10 seconds left in the game. Guy's about to fire the puck. And, you
Just took a run at him.
Yeah. But you know the difference between Rasmus Anderson and Matt Rempe is? Rasmus Anderson's not fucking 6'7".
Right.
So, I know it's a burden at times for some of these bigger guys in terms of trying to be physical because
The crazy thing is the dude that got hit from Rasmus was the bigger guy. Patrick Laine 6'5".
yeah, exactly. Right. But in the case of Matt Rempe, like I know that it is sometimes a pain in the ass for some of these bigger players in the National Hockey League when they're trying to be physical and use their, physical edge being so big over their opponents because it's a hell of a lot easier to hit your opponent and not have to worry about your elbows when you're 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", than when you're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Like
How many times did we see this with Chara?
you see this, we saw this all the time with Chara. And dude, we do not have to go far. The apple does not fall that far from the tree.
Right.
Who is the captain of the Rangers?
Who's the captain of the Rangers right now? Jacob Trouba.
Trouba.
Right. It's
Trouba.
I'm reading this chat back and it's like, and I'm shouting out our one of our girls on the SDPN Discord, Jess, the defender of the Metro. Jess.
Yeah.
She says, LOL, if there was actually an anti-Rangers bias, Trouba would be on like his 3rd suspension by now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The only difference, though, I think between Jacob Trouba and what Matt Rempe did here is precisely what I said not that long ago, which is just the ambiguity. Jacob Trouba has skated by long enough simply by most of his perceived dirty hits are very, very gray area. He does a really good job of walking that line where you can make the argument that there's a gray area. You literally cannot with
There's
this.
no gray here. It's
as
complete
black and white as it gets.
Or blue and white in this case.
Yeah.
Zing. All right. I think we handled Rempe enough. So I'm just gonna ask you straight up. Western Conference. Biggest winner, biggest loser.
It's Vegas. Look, I know a lot of people like to make the LTIR jokes, which it's funny.
They are funny, but the crazy thing is, it's a legal thing. It's a legal loophole.
Yes,
that everybody uses, dude. There's what is it like 7?
Because they use it better, but
like 7 whole teams are like at least 10 million over the cap right now.
Like, whatever your opinion of LTIR is, I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights asked Mark Stone's spleen to rupture.
Or for his back to explode.
So they could get Noah Hannafin.
Right.
Or Anthony Mantha.
Oh, man, I keep forgetting they got Mantha, too. Holy crap.
So, let's just use our heads here.
Well, they also still need to use space in order to fit Tomas Hertl. Dude. Yeah. They got Tomas Hertl.
I don't know how you can walk away from this deadline and not think that, forget about just Western Conference, just in general.
Yeah.
Let's walk away the winners. They got Tomas Hertl with retention.
With
and all they had to
millions of dollars of retention.
And they got 2/3.
They got thirds out of the friggin' Hertl deal.
And they gave up a first and a former first-round pick.
The Sharks gave them picks.
They gave up 2 first-round picks, essentially, got
This is
thirds in return, and the player they got retention on him, and he has 7 years of term.
this looks so bad for Mike Greer. Like, I remember right at the beginning of the year when we were doing our preview stuff with Jason, right?
Yeah.
And how over the course of this season, you've said that you weren't mean enough. You still haven't been mean enough.
I wasn't mean enough to the Sharks. I thought I was brutal on them. Look, look. Okay, here's what I'll say about Mike Greer
Yeah.
and San Jose Sharks.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
they have about $35 million in cap space heading into next season. Now, obviously, they're going to make moves in the offseason, including re-signing some players, letting some players go, making trades, free agency, yada, yada, yada.
They probably have some RFAs that could use a raise or two.
So once this season's done, they're going to have 2 years of retention they're spending left on Brent Burns, 4 years left on Eric Carlson, 6 years left on Tomas Hertl.
Ugh.
Now, let me make an argument to you, actually. I'm actually going to maybe kind of defend the Sharks here for a second.
Okay.
How much of a difference does that money make when you are the worst team in the league? You have to really, truly hit the reset button. And they've tried to hit the reset button. They're in the process of it. It's going to be a long fucking
Yeah, this one's going to be like we thought the Coyotes starting and restarting, or Buffalo starting and restarting was going to take long.
It's
This
such
is
a difficult reset because you hit the reset button.
Yeah.
You had to hit it. It's not that you're changing the rebuild or rebuilding the rebuild. It's just that because of the contracts you had on the books, you've had to find creative ways to hit the reset button again and again so you can flush things out in advance. So if you have $35 million in cap space and you're going to be one of the worst teams in the league next year and the year after that, how much of a difference does that retained salary money actually make? Not really much of anything. So if the value on Carlson, Burns, and Hertl were not that great, and you needed to retain salary to maximize that output, then I can understand that philosophy. What frustrates me if I'm a Sharks fan is any move you make, like Anthony Duclair this offseason. One thing that's effective at the trade deadline with a player like an Anthony Duclair or like what we did with Jack Roslovic is if you're a bad team that's tanking and you have a player on an expiring contract, you can reap better assets and open your market up more to the players you're trying to deal if you can retain salary on that contract. For the next 2 years, they will not be able to do that.
Right, they're out of retention spots.
They're out of retention spots. So while the retained money doesn't affect them, not having those slots available does.
Correct.
And that's to me why that's the only thing that bothers me specifically about this trade because I don't think the market on Tomas Hertl is that great. He has 7 years left, which can be an asset, but also kind of be a detriment at the money he's making.
Right.
8.1. That's a detriment if he's making 8.1, which he's not for Vegas. But I would have just kept him. If his market was not that good at the deadline, I would rather just keep that retention slot open for the future and being able to maybe make some moves at the deadline with it than give it up for the next 2 years just to yield back a little bit more on that player.
Imagine being the kids that they've gotten in these recent drafts and in trades and stuff where, like look at William Eklund, you look at Fabian Zetterlund, Thomas Bordeleau, maybe.
Yeah, Thomas Bordeleau, I like his potential. I like
whenever Will Smith gets in there, like you look at those guys and just think like, are they going to be plowing through this ugliness. Like,
I mean, what choice do they have?
I mean, a couple of them don't really have that much of a choice right now because they've made the show.
Yeah, I
When it
think
comes to Eki and
afterwards,
Zetterland.
you got to focus on your development. And the good thing about being as bad of a team as the Sharks, when you don't have to really worry that much about winning, as you I think it can be at times, not always, but at times easier
Mm-hmm.
to develop players when you're focused on trying to maximize maybe their offensive output.
Right.
Uh, but there is no doubt about it that, these guys are going to be coming into a losing culture. And that's concerning because losing cultures, as we know, are very, very hard to break out of.
Yes, and that makes it hard to attract fans
Mhm.
and grow your own fan base.
Dude, the Sharks have really struggled for attendance. They have these last few years, and
Yeah.
it's Sharks fans aren't passionate. They're very passionate, but
Yeah.
you think about how frustrating it has been for the Sharks because you know the Sharks for the last 20 years have consistently been one of the better teams in the National Hockey League.
Right. They have
They never
storied history
won.
with guys.
They never won a cup. So now they're basically paying that same quote unquote cup tax
Yeah.
that the Penguins are about to pay, that the Capitals are about to pay. But the difference is those two teams won cups.
Right. They
Sharks,
actually got something out of that.
all the Sharks have to show for it is
2016 finals.
I was about to name is the Western Prince of Wales or is that
Prince of Wales Prince of Wales trophy. I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but yeah, all you have to show for it is one finals appearance.
Right. It's a shame. So would you I guess what you're saying out of that is that the Sharks
Western is
are your
Clarence
big
Campbell,
huh?
not Western is Clarence Campbell.
Western's Clarence Campbell and the
But
East is
yeah,
Prince of Wales. Okay.
yeah. My takeaway here is Vegas nailed it. Hannafin's a big ad. Hurdle is obviously a huge ad. Mantha's a big ad.
Mantha's great depth.
And look, this is a team that likely will be hitting their stride and getting a little bit healthier as the
The
playoffs.
crazy thing, Vegas is just they they embody their city so well where it's just like we don't care. We're going to win and we're going to just get better at
And
winning.
we're going to do it in style.
We're going to get better at winning
Yeah.
by just getting everybody.
Yeah, and a lot of people get mad at them. Don't get mad at them. Don't be mad that they use the tools available to them. Be mad that your team doesn't do it that way and doesn't do it better.
Be mad be mad that like you haven't found a way to do it that works like
Yeah,
they have.
exactly. So, yeah,
So in that case, your biggest winner in the West is Vegas, and I'm assuming that would make your biggest loser San Jose in the West.
let me look through real quick. I don't know if I would necessarily say San Jose is the biggest loser. I didn't like the Vanacek trade. I didn't think that made sense because they didn't get any retention on that trade. So that didn't really make much sense
Right,
to me.
trading out Kakinen for VTech. Which by the way, Capo Kakinen going the other way to the Devils. That's just another named add to the great kinds of European names that Devils goalies have. Like
Yeah.
Sharks and Devils goalies have some of the best European names when it comes to the European goalies.
Yes. So biggest loser in the West. You know what? Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
might be LA.
You think so?
Not being able to make that Linus Allmark trade,
Right.
brutal.
They
And
couldn't pull the trigger on that trade.
right,
And
I know it's not a deadline move, but they're really, really regretting the PLD move.
Yeah, that's a huge regret. And
Working.
they're the not being able to pull any value out of getting something for Matt Roy.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't pull the trigger on Roy. You're
Here's the
sunk
thing.
into the PLD situation.
So you're sitting third in your division at 77 points.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just looking at the playoff picture, uh, you know, as far as wild card's concerned, there's a gap between Vegas and St. Louis for that final wild card spot, but you're 2 points ahead of Vegas. So they're pretty comfortably in a playoff position, and they might not have to be a wild card team if they make the playoffs. So, you're not selling at the deadline if you're the Kings.
Right.
So not making really any moves is very puzzling.
Yeah, that's not like Rob Blake either.
It's not at all. So I didn't particularly like their deadline because they didn't do really much of anything.
Yeah. Mm. I would have to go with Vegas as the big winner for me. Though I will say a close second to Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg definitely. That's a good shout. Let me tell you, Nifty worked these last two deadlines, not having to give up a first round pick to
Mm-hmm.
get Tyler Toffoli and Nino Niederreiter.
Tyler Toffoli going to the Jets, bro.
That's
Woo!
that's really nice work for the Jets. They've done a really good job.
Continues Tyler's tour of Canada because this is his fourth Canadian team.
It's funny, a player as good as Tyler Toffoli, who's had as good of a career as he's had, has
Mm-hmm.
really, ever since leaving LA, has struggled to find a long-term home.
Yeah. You would think that would have been in Vancouver with how well he played there.
He did play there, but they needed to move him because, tides were changing and whatnot.
Yeah. And look at Vancouver now.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. They're still just a wagon.
Yeah. It's nice to see, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We're unfortunately a year ahead of our Canucks wagon prediction.
Yeah.
Because we were like all in on the Canucks when JT Miller signed that contract, and then the next year was a disaster. But now he's having a good year, and now they're great. So we were just ahead of the curve on that one.
Very well. I
You
don't
know
know
me,
because
I'm always early.
yeah, and then you have like teams that didn't do, teams that should have been sellers that didn't even do a whole lot of stuff.
Didn't feel like the Coyotes did much of anything.
Coyotes didn't do very much.
They
Uh,
traded Matt Dumba for a fifth.
yeah.
Even then, I think they traded a seventh along with him.
Uh, Seattle didn't really need to do too much.
Seattle was in a very weird
They're in
spot.
a very strange spot right
I
now.
did hate what they did sign Eberle to a contract extension, so they're committed to him.
And he's playing in his 1000th game tonight, recording this.
Nice, good for him.
Yeah, they got really fun patches for him.
Yeah,
Minnesota was
I'm looking at their roster. I don't have any problem with them standing pat.
St. Louis was pretty quiet. Minnesota also pretty quiet, and those two are fighting
They did
out.
kind of like a very quiet, soft sell. Like they traded Connor Dewar for a fourth round pick.
Right, Dewar going, and
I feel like they made another trade, but I can't remember who it was.
oh wait, didn't they trade both Deweys?
Oh, Duane?
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think they traded both Deweys. Which stinks.
Yeah.
That really stinks for many fans. St. Louis didn't do a whole lot, and what's weird is they're both tied, just outside of the wild card with 69 points. Nice. Um, the that wild card race though, with Nashville at 78 holding strong, and Vegas holding the second spot at 75. Dude, Vegas coming in as a second wild card.
Imagine that. Imagine you win the West in the regular season. You're the number 1 seed. Your prize. You get to play Vegas.
Oh, the poor Canucks, dude.
That
Right
would
now,
be
that would be the Canucks, wouldn't it?
it would be the most Canucks thing ever if they found a way to the top and their reward is
Vegas. Ugh. Oh boy.
the question almost then becomes, would you rather, if you're Dallas,
Yeah.
you rather just maybe we'll just win our division and be second behind Vancouver because we'd rather play Nashville than play Vegas.
Right. And then they would also set up matchups like Edmonton, LA, get a Gretzky Bowl in the first round, or Winnipeg, Colorado in the first round. Oh, that one sounds really fun.
Yeah.
McKinnon versus Hellebuck.
Yeah. God. Those are some exciting matchups in the West. I think the playoffs are going to be wide open this year, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah. So winner in the East. I'm gonna start off and I'm gonna say Carolina because they probably did get the biggest fish, and you talked about that right off the top.
Yeah, obviously. Jake Gensel. Did you know? I'm going to make you guess this. Do you know what his goal scoring pace is in the playoffs? So his
In the
career
playoff.
playoff scoring over the course of an 82 game season. Do you know what his goal pace would be?
No.
Do you have a guess? How many goals would Jake Gensel score in an 82 game season if he scored at his playoff rate?
If he scored at his playoff rate. Uh 42.
48.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
48.
he's making his Canes debut tonight as well. Like this is
in the playoffs.
This is his first game as a Hurricane and first game since like Valentine's Day.
So the Penguins didn't win the last playoff series. The Penguins were involved in because they missed the playoffs last year. They're going to miss again this year. Was a 7-game series against the Rangers, as you remember.
Yeah.
Series, where they lost in 7. So 7
Mhm.
games. How many goals did Jake Gensel have in that series?
5.
8.
Oh, what a monster!
Yeah, he had 8 goals in the first round, and they didn't win.
But hey, did you know this? I'm about to drop a big old knowledge bomb on you.
Sure.
Did you know that Kyle Dubas loves his guys?
I kept
And
making.
I mean, loves his guys.
I made the joke to my one friend, who's a Penguins fan. She was obviously very upset about the Gensel trade, and of course, here I am trying to rub more salt in the wound. I was like, just wait until he trades for Ilya Mikheyev.
Oh.
Mikheyev and Campbell trades are gonna go.
We just need to bring Kyle Clifford back from the air.
I can't tell you, like, look, there's nothing wrong with
being
Michael,
like, but
like,
going all the way back to your junior
dude,
career days and picking guys like.
When I saw that Michael Bunting was going the other way, I
know.
I was like, dude, that is too on the nose for me. It's like,
no, Kyle, what are you doing?
I say this. This is crazy. This is a crazy thing.
He's leaning into the meme so hard.
I gotta be honest with you. Like,
wow,
crazy to think about this, but because the Penguins obviously they have Crosby and they have Malkin, they have Letang, and they have steady ownership, and they've been good for so long now, and winning culture. Mike Sullivan's the coach. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It is crazy how bad of a job that Penguins general manager job is.
Oh yeah, like
because you are not coming in, like, at least at the end of the Red Wings era with Ken Holland, At
Mhm.
least he was the guy who was running that ship and won those cups.
Yeah, and he owned up
Kyle
to the
Dubas,
mistake.
Kyle Dubas's job when he took it
Yeah,
was he has to, without really any assets,
yeah.
without really any cap space, without really any roster flexibility,
You
find a way
have
with an aging roster to keep the window open. And it very much swung so fast that his job is now to basically tear this thing down. And he has to do it without any of the prior joys of being a part of the wins.
you have to essentially close the Crosby era and begin anew while also trying to salvage something for these three dudes.
It's a fucking impossible job.
Well, remember, you go from Jim Rutherford,
Mhm.
being weirdly senile, and now look at what JR is doing. Like, I think he got some of that
This
back.
is what JR is, though. JR has, I think, in a lot of people's minds, in my mind in particular, has bec oh god, why can't I think of his name? The GM of the Reds, Dave Dombrowski.
He is Dave
He has become the
Dombrowski.
Dave Dombrowski of hockey in that he will come to your team
Mm-hmm.
when you're ready to win,
Yeah.
and he will win with you. And
But then,
but very quickly he will deplete all of your assets in order to
but
win.
no,
He will win. You will win. You will
yeah,
experience that. You will taste, the fruits of victory. But it has a
you
cost.
go, no, you go from Jim Rutherford to Ron Hextall,
Yeah, I kind
and
of
that
think
was a complete unholy mess.
here's Hextall did so much more damage than Rutherford did
Oh
because
yeah,
again, Rutherford at least he has the titles on his
he
resume.
got the cups. Yeah,
Hextall didn't. Hextall didn't come close with them.
Hextall brought in an aging Jeff Carter and signed Raquel to some ridiculous number.
Yeah,
I mean, what's
he's signed. I think he was the one who signed Brian Rust. And don't get me wrong, nothing against Brian
no? I
Rust,
love Brian Rust, but like,
but
oof,
but again, that's another aging piece who is not on a great contract. So
yeah.
no, they have no assets
No, they have nothing.
and they have no flexibility.
You got to remember, okay, so this past draft, their first pick was obviously there was a kid that we were thinking highly of. They got Braden Yeager out of that draft pick at 15th.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, Braden Yeager's a good young player,
yeah, definitely.
but the fact that he fell all the way to Pittsburgh at 15, oh
Yeah,
boy. He's
but
not going to.
it, but that's he's not going to be in the league for a couple of years. So what do you do? Like he's obviously your top guy, but outside of that, you have a very bad prospect pool.
Who do you have that you can graduate out of Wilkes-Barre to make this work? Not much.
Yessi Pugliarvi.
He was playing third line the other night already. Dude, he's already up.
Yeah. So okay, so Pittsburgh, I think would be fair to say that they might be the biggest losers from the East.
They at least have the biggest laugh.
I don't know if any other team that I could make the argument had as bad of a deadline as
Can we
maybe
talk about how great Danny Briere's been?
you took mine. I was going to say that the Flyers kind of won the East
Yeah.
in the midst of a season where they're
Well, because
they might make the playoffs.
my winner is Carolina still.
Yeah, that's fine. But this dude took on
Mhm.
who the fuck am I thinking of? They just traded for first. Sean Walker.
Yeah.
looked like a
Yeah,
net.
Falcons legend Sean Walker. Don't disrespect my boy.
He was an albatross in that deal. He was absolutely, a guy that the Kings wanted to get rid of. His
Right.
contract was great. It was him and Cal Peterson that they were dumping in this deal. So they would only have to retain salary on the Provorov contract, while the Blue Jackets misguidedly traded for Ivan Provorov.
Eh.
And the Flyers turned him into a first-round pick in
Yeah.
less than a year.
So
And on top of that, they replaced him with Eric Johnson, who, again, he's aging. He's not what he used to be, but he can very easily fill those shoes for only the cost of a fourth-round pick, and he has so much more experience.
So I want to read this Bleacher Report Open Ice tweet from deadline day.
Yeah.
This was when things were really starting to roll.
Mhm.
And it all happened within a few hours, like 3 hours,
Yeah.
right? Tarasenko to Florida, because fucking of course.
Yeah, I'm not gonna grill the Senators on that one because he's on a 1-year deal.
No, and it's wonderful, and it's like
He had a no trade clause, so they were like his
Dorian's the one that fucked up the contract,
yeah.
and the only place he wanted to go was Florida.
Exactly. So what are they supposed to do? I'm not going to laugh at the Senators for that. I think that's low hanging fruit.
But like, dude, Tarasenko in Florida, woo! And then you get Henrique and Carrick traded out of Anaheim to Edmonton.
Like that move for dude. I love Adam Henrique.
I love Adam Henrique. He's a great player. Great player. Shawnee Walker goes to Colorado. Ryan Johansson went.
I just said that I like that for the Flyers getting the first round pick. I do like it for the Avs too.
Well, yeah. Ryan Johansson goes the other way, and then he got waived.
Well, yeah, he was never going to play with Torts.
Right.
One we haven't mentioned yet that I think is a very, very fun trade for Colorado. Casey Middlestat.
That was the next one that was on this list. Casey Middlestat to Colorado for Bo Byram, guys. What?
Dude.
Let's
Middlestat's gonna be so nasty with the Avs.
Casey's gonna be like the second line center that they've been missing for like years.
So
like ever since Kadri left, they really missed an actual bona fide second line center.
He's unbelievable passer.
And Bo Byram, can we talk about Bo Byram for a second? Because he's the left shot, right?
Yeah.
The left side for Buffalo's defense. Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Bowen Byram. A first overall, a fourth overall pick.
This is Matthias Samuelsson erasure.
This is who?
Matthias Samuelsson.
It is Samuelsson erasure.
But and not to mention still have Johnson, who's also a left-hand shot. It was a former first-round pick that they are excited about. Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
He has fallen off these last 2 years in terms of his play ever since he had an unbelievable Stanley Cup final. Bo Byram.
Well, I can't fault Byram for that because you got to take all the concussions into account.
That's the thing. I don't blame the player either. But do you like this is sad, but do you know what the first thing I thought of when the Sabres made this trade? I am because obviously I love Buffalo.
You have the soft spot for Buffalo for being there for 4 years, yes.
I am deathly afraid that they are about to get Ryan Murray'd.
Oh boy.
Where the issue is never the talent.
Right, because it's there. We've seen that it's there.
The individual. The issue is any momentum this player tries to come up with, it gets halted. And there's no doubt about it that like I mentioned, these last 2 years have not been good for Bo Byram. There's no doubt about it. It's because of the injuries.
Right.
It's 100% because of the injuries. That's what happened to Ryan Murray. you don't just randomly as a young player go from dominating in the Stanley Cup playoffs and in the Stanley Cup finals and winning a cup to being traded 2 years later for a second line center. Granted, I love Casey Middlestat. I think he's a really good player.
Oh
But,
yeah, Casey's gonna be great.
but if I had told you 2 years ago that they'd be trading him for Casey Middlestat,
And it was just the 1-for-1, like, bruh.
out of my fucking mind. But that's where we are. So I hope for his sake, it's a high risk, high reward trade for the Sabres. I hope they reap the benefits of the reward.
Yeah.
I fear they're not going to.
You would hope. You would
I
hope they
do.
will, especially with, again, like I said, with that talent listed, you have 2 first overall picks and a 4th overall pick on your left side, bro.
These are all guys who can move the puck, who can shoot the puck, who can pass the puck.
They can do so many things.
But what's the issue? Who are they going to pair any of those guys with?
Right. Well, I mean,
They
they've
don't have
stapled.
any right-hand shot. Their best right-hand shot defenseman is Connor Clifton.
Dude, they keep stapling poor. Like, I love Henry Jokiharju, but like, dude, he's not a top pair defenseman at all.
Henry Jokiharju guy, to be honest with you.
I mean, I know you don't enjoy Henry Jokiharju. I know, like, I like him. Again,
I will give him a compliment. He has a cool name.
He has a great name. Dude, are we missing any of like the big moves?
I don't think so.
No.
Let me look through the teams real quick. Boston, I don't think made any big moves. Toronto, real quick, Joel Edmondson.
Oh
Toronto,
yeah, Joel Edmondson's a pretty decent.
Toronto put a lot of emphasis on hitting and guys who are physical, which I do.
Well, that's Brad Treliving in a nutshell. He wants to make this team beefier.
I think that's smart.
So they,
Very smart.
they reunite with Ilya Lyubushkin as well, pre-deadline.
This trade I was not a big fan of, but I do like the Edmondson trade. I do. I think Edmondson is more effective than Lyubushkin is at that element.
Yeah, it's fair.
So,
And then you shore up the 4th line with Connor Dewar.
I like that move a lot. They didn't give up much for him, and I think he's an effective 4th line guy.
Yeah. But that also pushes Kampf out of a spot. Or you could play him like on a wing or whatever. It's gonna be a weird thing with Kampf.
So we talked about Florida Panthers made the trade for Tarasenko. They've also been low-key obsessed with the Sabres these last few years. Obviously, the Reinhart trade comes to mind.
Yeah.
Rodriguez. They traded for Kyle Okposo.
Oh, that's right. They got Kyle. That's weird because it's always weird to me when a captain gets traded.
Oh, I didn't even mention Brandon Montour too. Yeah, it's always strange when a captain gets traded, but I do think this will pave the way for next captain of the Buffalo Sabres, Alex Tuch.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because how early did we call Tucky getting the captaincy there?
I think the second he was traded,
like the second he got traded
there,
there.
the second that Eichel trade was made, we were like, yeah, Tuch's gonna be the captain. Let's see. We talked about the Rangers. Tampa Bay made a couple moves. They traded for Matt Dumba. They also traded for
getting Duke is great.
Yeah,
Anthony Duclair.
And I think that's it. I don't think
I'm surprised because there was all that drama about Stamkos this year.
Yeah,
but I'm also not surprised because, like, dude, write it out with your guy.
Right.
Red
Wings didn't do anything. Oh, did we talk about Kuznetsov?
We didn't talk about Kuznetsov. Oh my god.
Yeah. So very sequence of events. He gets brought back or cleared from the
activated from player assistance.
Yeah, activated. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Player assistance, and then he immediately
waived, which was weird.
It was strange. It was very weird timing. And then he gets traded. So they retain, I believe, 50%, all 50% on his contract.
Yeah, I think it's 50-50.
because I think it's just the rest of this year and next
Yeah,
year.
and that's a big steal for Carolina too, because they only get him for $3.9 million.
Yeah. So, and it only cost them a third-round pick. So, these last few years have been really rough on Evgeny Kuznetsov, both seemingly on and off the ice. So, a
Yeah.
change of scenery might work out really well for him. There's not as much pressure on him to perform because of all the other guys they have in Carolina, and obviously,
Aho, Kuzi, Stahl, Kotkaniemi, like
yeah. Well, and also
Jarvis. You
he's
have
not the biggest move that they made. So there's obviously going to be more pressure on Jake Gensel to perform than there is him.
Right.
So I think that's a good place for him to go.
I kind of want to see those two together.
Kuznetsov and Gensel.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. Put those two together with Jarvis.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Be fun.
What else is there? Am I missing anything else with the trade deadline?
No, I don't know. I think we covered most of the big bases.
Did Dallas do anything?
Dallas? Oh my God. Well, we already talked about the Tanev deal, and that's probably the biggest thing they did, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they did anything outside of Tanev.
No.
Not like they need to.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they got rid of Hanley, I think, or was one of the two. I think it was
Joel Hanley.
Was it Joel Hanley? Okay.
So yeah, no, I don't think we're missing anything. No, I think we did a good job.
Fair enough. Hey, are you excited for baseball? Because I'm honestly, it's weird because like I know I'm excited because I was talking with my mom about it the other day. It's very strange seeing the Castellinis actually spending for once.
Yeah.
And then it's also going to be very weird seeing Joey gone.
It's gonna be. He's gonna be a Blue Jay. I wish he would just retire. To be honest with you,
yeah.
Like man, him being anywhere that's not Cincinnati is just weird.
It's like I get it's his hometown, and yeah, but no.
Yeah, man, you're supposed to be a Red forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, just go to the booth. You'd be a hell of an upgrade over Johnny Bench. But yeah, I'm really gonna miss Joey. And then fucking Noelvi Marte gets hit with a PED suspension. Like, thanks, kid. Looks good on you. Right?
Yeah.
God. So like my whole thing has just been, getting excited for baseball, following Joey with the Jays, the Reds kids. Then I saw Marte gets his suspension, dumb move, and the infield's already kind of crowded as it is.
Yes.
They have 6 regulars other than Noelvi for 4 spots.
Oh.
So Christian and Encarnacion Strand is probably going to take over at first.
Okay.
You have Johnny India. And my guy Matty McLean, who can tandem DH in second. Elliot Short, which is funny because he's a tall dude. I'm very, very excited for season 2 of Run DLC, bro.
What position is he?
De La Cruz, he's listed as a third baseman, but he plays short. He played a lot of short last year.
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's gigantic.
I
couldn't remember they had him at shortstop or third. Cannon
did a little bit of both, I think, but mainly short. Candelario is probably going to take over third.
Yeah,
he was that big buy that they had this offseason.
Yeah.
And then Spencer Steer, he's listed as an infielder. So he can probably tandem first base, I guess, but he can also DH and play left. He can play left field.
Nice.
So
gotta love some good flexibility.
it's really interesting now that like it kind of doesn't matter anymore with both leagues having DHs.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
It's
Isn't it
kind of
so
fun.
much more watchable?
It's fun. It's fun. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for these Red Legs. The outfield's a little crowded too. Willie Benson and Fraley and Fairchild and all these guys. Spencer, obviously. TJ Friedel, I'm really excited to see what TJ could do this year because he
Mhm.
really broke out last year.
Yeah. I'm excited for some elements of the Guardians this season. Obviously, I'm excited to see what Stephen Vogt can do at manager.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's your big story, right? Is
Yeah, that's
Tito gone?
um, we didn't move Shane Bieber, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this season because they almost moved him at the deadline.
Mhm.
We didn't see any. We barely saw any of Tristan McKenzie last season, so having him back is going to be a big boost. Gavin Williams was unbelievable as a rookie, so a lot of excitement there.
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot about our pitchers. Give me a second. Go on about your guys.
Tanner Bybee, Logan Allen, like we got a bunch of young pitchers who are really good. Josh Naylor was in the midst of a potential MVP caliber season, but then he got hurt. But he continued his pace after he came back. He had an unbelievable season, so I'm excited about him again.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Jimenez locks it down at second. He's phenomenal defensively, although we'll could use a little bit more from the bat from him. Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez.
I mean, Jose, yeah.
Yeah, where it's interesting is the shortstop position. They got to get that figured out between Rocchio and Gabriel Arias. Jose Tena can also play shortstop, but I don't know if any of those guys are true everyday shortstops. So
I'm excited for more Steven,
yeah.
for some more Quan. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Stephen Kwan locks it down in left field. That's be a given for the next decade.
Yeah.
But outside of that, nothing's really set in the outfield. Like I like Will Brennan in right. I'm not sure he's an everyday right fielder.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's solid with the bat, but I don't know if he's impactful enough to be an everyday outfielder. Because when you have a guy like Stephen Kwan who doesn't generate really any power,
Yeah.
it's great because he's patient at the plate. He gets on base. He's got speed. He's great. Defensively out there. That's
Yeah.
great, but you can't really have two of those guys in your outfield. You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to get a little bit more power. So Miles Straw doesn't generate any. I'm kind of over him because
Yeah,
of
I know you're over Straw.
look, the most disappointing thing from the Guardians, in my opinion, is that I'm going on vacation
Mm-hmm.
June 22nd to June 29th with Mel and my family.
Mm-hmm.
On June 22nd, guess who is going to be doing a DJ performance after the Guardians game that night?
Oh no, who is it?
Shaq.
What?
Yeah, Shaq is a DJ.
Oh my god! I knew he did that, but like,
Of
what?
course. Of course, when I can't go.
I mean, I'm going to that Foo Fighters concert without my dad on his birthday at Great American, so I'm excited for my first non-baseball event at the ballpark. In regards to because you led off with pitching, I guess I'll end with pitching.
Yeah.
Frankie Montas is listed probably going to be the opening day starter.
Okay. Makes sense.
Forgot they got him, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And Emilio Pagan, like, ooh, some
Yeah.
good arms.
Distance. Good for them. I think it'll work.
I think it'll work. So Frankie Montas, then Hunter Green. Obviously, we love us some Hunter Green.
Yeah.
Dude can kick triple digits like it's nothing. More Andrew Abbott. I'm really excited for the mustache man.
Mm-hmm.
This kid is awesome. Uh, and obviously Graham. I love Graham Ashcraft. He was solid when I went to see him in August. Pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, 4. Um, Lodolo is up in the air still because I'm afraid he's got some of that Ryan Murray syndrome.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I really loved Nick Lodolo.
Well, it's also frustrating because do you know who kind of had that for us for a while and then immediately never suffered from it again after they left?
Oh no.
Michael Brantley.
I know.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a tough one.
yeah, that was yeah. Same could be said for Jesse. Well, Jesse was healthy, he was just inconsistent.
Yeah.
And then I guess rounding it out, TJ Antone is back. Oh my god.
Good.
So I'm excited to see some big rig. And I mean, he is a big rig. He is 6'4", 230.
Oh, this is how we can wrap this show up to wrap it up with hockey.
Yeah.
Big rig, Boston.
Oh, that's right. Boston got
Pat Maroon got traded to the team with the announcer that called him fat.
Not only that, but the team that he beat in 2019's final.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. You are correct, good sir.
Yeah.
So, not that that was a major trade, but it was kind of funny.
Kind of interesting to see what's going to go on with Jack. Well, because like Jack Edwards is going through like weird speech issues.
Yeah. I hope everything's okay there. But
I think that's just him getting older. But like
one thing that made me laugh, like
instead, it's getting bad. So hopefully he'll be okay.
Deadline day was someone said Jack Edwards picking up Pat Maroon from the airport, and it was just the Tiger. Big dog.
Oh my god, we'll figure out what's going on. Maybe we'll do a show Saturday. We'll find out. We do need to look at the schedule and figure out a watch along as well.
Mm-hmm.
Since we only have like a month left.
Yeah.
So we need to pick one. I know my fantasy went to crap. Like I was probably one of the first ones eliminated from playoffs, so I was just like, I started pulling a U and just not paying attention.
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll see how the rest of the year goes. Excited to see what the guys could do, even after giving up 3 goals on 3 shots to start the one tonight against Montreal.
And then they didn't allow a goal the rest of the way.
Huh.
And they didn't score a goal the rest of the way either. So.
Well, we got a Thursday, we got a Saturday, okay, so we've got some fun stuff coming your way. And keep your eyes out. You know we love you.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at By J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.